Okay, here we are with questions for Lobo and Lori about going to Africa. Lobo, you going to answer or you want me to answer? You want me to answer? Okay, since Lobo's never been to Africa, I think he wants me to answer. So, Linda, my photographer, who owns this adorable dog Lobo, not photographer, videographer. Linda, my videographer, who owns Lobo, the beautiful, wonderful dog who shows up in the video sometimes, is shooting this, and she's going to ask me questions about Africa because she's never been. And I thought this will be helpful because for people who haven't been, they must have the same questions as Linda. So go ahead, Linda, ask me anything you want about Africa. Since I've been traveling there for 34 years, hopefully I'll have the answer for you.
Well, what about those of us who don't like to hear lions while we're lying in bed?
So she's referring to the video and the blog post I wrote about how I love staying in little chic camps where you can hear the lions at night roaring. So it's super safe. They have never broken into a tent, and it's kind of cool. Like, even people who say they're going to be afraid, it really creates the adventure part of your safari, and it becomes life-changing because you're so connected to nature. And the lions aren't really necessarily walking around, but although in the camps we stay at, we do have Maasai warriors and other people who are on call all night and walking around with lights and making sure that everything's safe. So I think you would feel safe, and you would wake up in the morning and say, I heard a lion last night, oh my God.
Yeah, and I praise the Lord that I lived to see the morning light.
We've never had anyone get hurt yet.
I see. And so you've had no emergency evacuations?
We've had none, but it's required that you get insurance for emergency evacuation. It's just required for everybody who's going on safari, but never had any issue at all. We've had maybe a bug bite or two, but that's it.
I see. Have you talked to anybody who's used Medevac in a helicopter from Africa?
No, but it's really, really well known. I used to live next door to a person who was the nurse of the guy who invented the Medevac from being on safari, and it's really a special program that he put together, and it's super efficient and good. I thought you were going to ask me about bugs since I brought up bugs.
Okay, I'll ask you about bugs. What's the biggest bug you've ever seen in Africa?
Well, you know what?
A centipede?
Here's one thing. Yeah, I've seen centipedes. I've seen ants. Here's one thing is people think there's loads of bugs, and there really aren't. So if you go at the right time of year and you don't go to where there's tsetse flies, known tsetse flies, there's really not that many mosquitoes, because I don't take my clients in the rainy season because you don't want to go in the rainy season. You get stuck in the mud. You don't see as many animals. So we're going in the dry season, so that lessens the amount of mosquitoes. Mosquitoes come out in the morning and the evening, and just briefly, like when the sun's rising and the sun's setting. So you really don't see that many bugs. But once I was staying at this wonderful tented camp, and they were having a swarm of bugs. We don't know why. They were coming through, and so the lanterns were on at dinner, and we were all eating, and the bugs were going around the lanterns. So that's the most bugs I've ever seen. But there's many less bugs, and people always comment and say, I thought there'd be so many more bugs. So you don't need to worry about lions or bugs.
And do people, how much of your trips are in the city or where you would see lots of people and hunger and begging and things like that? And how do the participants in your trips, how do they deal with that heart-rending agony of
what's going on in Africa,
poverty
and the poorness?
Yeah.
So, going on safari is a specific journey, and so people aren't really coming to stay in the city. So we spend maybe one night, the very first night in the city, and wake up very early the next morning, and we're out into the bush. There is a lot of poverty in Africa, but we're not going into the sections that are super, super like slum poor, but the villages are poor compared to what we experience. The Maasai are poor. They don't own a lot of things. The Bushmen don't own a lot of things. So when we come across those people in the bush, we have this incredible perception change, because these people are so happy and lovely and smiley and sing songs, and they don't own a lot, but they have a peace in them and a happiness in them. They're connected to nature. They have everything they need. They're connected to each other. You know, this famous psychiatrist says that in America, we are now looking to our spouse and our partners to be our tribes. And what I love about in Africa is the tribes take care of each other. So my friend Daniel, who's a Maasai tribe guy that I use, he's a Maasai guide, and I use him to guide us when I go over there to the Mara. he's so connected to his entire village, and there's like 150 people. So that's his family. So you're not very alone in Africa, which can be kind of different. Like, it took me a while to get used to it because I'm sort of a loner, but I like it, and it makes, you know, we as a human, we need contact with other humans, and I think that we're missing a lot of that. So that also helps make them happy. So to answer your question, that the poor parts of it are less sad than you think. Being poor doesn't make someone sad. Being in a slum, being without water, being without family, being with AIDS, being without education or possibility of things can make you poor. But not having things is not going to make you sad and poor, if that makes sense.
Thank you.